welcome back to my channel. So today I'm sharing the progress of my stash busting project. So I'm going to be making this kind of a three-part video, and I'll be putting the timestamps down in the description box. The first part, I want to go ahead and talk about my cover, and the second part, I'm going to be talking a little bit more about some of the clusters I've made, kind of share some of those. I've got a few page spreads in here that I want to share, and then I want to show how I make envelopes for this size journal. I have several of these that I want to use up, so I found an easy way of making envelopes that will fit into this size. It's kind of a TN size journal. So let's get started. First, I want to talk about this real quick. So if you've watched part 1 and 2, you'll know that I had a pretty big container filled with boxes of desk leftovers that I kept throwing into these different containers. I decided to organize all of them and work on them and try to whittle them down as much as possible, and this is what I've come up with. This is what was left over in this little guy and some other containers. So I got it all down into one, and so I'm still going to work on those. I want to get this whittled down even more. But yeah, I'm pretty proud of how I've been able to condense so much of this. And of course, I showed this last time. I worked down on that a little bit too, but now I've got it down to one box. And some of these things when I get done with this last journal that's in here, so this stuff is going to get redistributed into the rest of my ephemera containers, and this project will be over with. So let me move on to this. Now, the reason why I want to share this is because, first of all, I love this. This was a project that I saw on Seven Plaza. She showed us how to make these beautiful danglers for the edges of your journals, and I have a lot of supplies to use up, so that was really fun. But this is full of metal and full of clay beads and super heavy, some glass beads, so it makes a lot of noise, so sorry for that. But I wanted to talk a little bit about, hold on, let me throw that down real quick. This is a journal cover that I made several years ago, and I love this fabric, but it was really plain, so I talked about in one of my earlier videos how I put these edges along here. I just take strips and hand stitch those on to kind of give it a kind of a fun raggedy look. But this right here is something that I thought was really fun. These were pieces of fabric that were thrown into the desk leftover boxes that I went through to get all of my ephemera for this project. I did all new elastic and redid the whole thing, so it's almost like new. I'm loving it. So here are some of the pages that I've finished in this journal. So I showed you this in my last video, but this is new. I kept this visual, this really pretty vintage, not vintage, but retro decor page, and just added one of my little tags, my little pocket tags from Seven Plaza. She did a mass making on that. This is one of my junk mail envelopes that I decorated, and I thought it went really well with the vintage there. I used the same kind of ephemera from that book to decorate this envelope, and then added a little bit of something on the back of that, just so the whole thing kind of looks like it goes together. Let's see, I think it pops, yeah, there. I didn't do any decorating here. I figured, that's enough for a 2-page spread, so yeah. And this is another page spread where I was able to use up some of my clusters on just to fill the page up. This is a piece from a master board that kind of went with the theme. This background piece is a scribble page from my grandson that I just wanted to put some fun ephemera on and use it as a memory, so that was kind of cool. And then here, just another, cluster. I didn't want to cover up some of these images because I'd been saving them for a long time. I never really found a project for them, but I wanted to kind of keep those intact, so a smaller one on top of that really worked out for me. Another page spread. I like this one. It was another opportunity to use one of these pretty Polaroids with the birds. I kind of felt like it gave it kind of a natural look there. So, and then just one of my tags in a pocket, little cluster. This one, the last page in this journal is absolutely my favorite. I'm so happy with this. I love my little quilt. This is my little quilt. This is funny because this is a quilt that I've had for so long. My kids and I, when they were little, we used to take it on our picnics. So yeah, that's kind of a fun memory. But little clusters, some sunflowers, some fussy cut sunflowers. A girl from one of my vintage sewing books that I got at a thrift store. A photocopy of a collage I made years ago. Just some bits and bobs. And I just love the colors. Love how this came out. Now, I'm going to show you some of the clusters I've made. There's one with a little Tim Holtz boy on there. A flashcard. Another flashcard with some images from a Japanese cookbook, children's Japanese cookbook. Oh, I like this one. I really struggled with how I was going to use this little pig, and I rifled through all of my ephemera and finally got something going, and I think that came out kind of fun. Pink and black. A little retro, kind of colorful recipe card. Oh, I like this one. I really did struggle with this one, but it was fun in the long run, trying to get all these colors going and not covering up this beautiful joker. I just love that card. This is a piece from some Happy Mail that I got years and years ago, and it's just so nice when you have something that you've had for a long time to finally find a home for it, and now it will probably end up in one of my journals. This one's pretty plain, but you know, it's kind of fun. A fun way to use up some store-bought ephemera with a couple of pieces of scrapbook paper on a tag. This one's fun. I really, really enjoyed this one. I've had that little image from a book for years, and to have it, you know, kind of centered, you know, instead of lost on a page somewhere, I'm really loving how that turned out. This one's just kind of plain, just a few things put together on a tag. This one has kind of a restaurant apple pie feel to it. I kind of like that one. It's rather big, so that'll be going into one of my larger journals, but it's kind of nice to have those kinds of things around to fall back on. And then this is just a few bits stapled together, glued. A cute little image. I'm not sure why it turned out lavender, but yeah. So those are the clusters that I've been able to get to this week. Here is the other journal. I took out quite a few of the pages because I cannot fit another journal this size into this cover. So I took out some of the pages. Let's see what we have. And this is where I put a lot of my scrap paper pieces in. I inked the edges and glued them in. Just for a background, just as a place to kind of land, maybe make it a little bit easier for me to kind of get in here and get some work done. So this is a page spread that I did yesterday. And I've had this image that I cut out of a page from a magazine for years and years. And the background, what I like about this one is I had this kind of neutralish background, and then I put these really bright paper pieces down. So then adding another, you know, beige or tan image on top of all that color, I think it really pops a lot of that. So yeah, really happy with the way that one turned out. So that's it for this journal right now. I do have a plan. I kind of got some stuff organized to see if I could come up with something. Okay, so this little gal right here is from another journal that kind of bit the dust, so to speak. I've talked about that several times. I have made journals in the past for different projects that I dropped because I wasn't very happy about them. And instead of just tossing her after I fussy cut her, I set her aside. So I'm going to try to find a page spread that she might work in. I don't know if this is the one that I chosen or not. I think it might be. So this is an old song, and I hope that you don't mind. That's just part of the lyric. Killing me softly with his song. Please ignore that. I hope you're not thinking I'm putting some crazy lyrics in my journal, but yeah, it's an old song from the 70s. I could have been a little bit more strategic of how I cut that out, but I didn't, so. Let's see. It's also from a kind of a scary movie. But she's going to cover up. I think she's going to cover that up. We'll see. I'm going to place this stuff on here and see what works for me. I fussy cut a pretty bouquet of flowers. I'm not sure what I'm going to do with that. I have a few options here for clusters that might work, and just some bits and bobs. So like I said, I'm going to be putting the timestamps down below. I'm going to go ahead and just kind of fool around, see if I can make any of this work, put on some music, and then I'll meet you on the other side. Okay, so while that's drying, let's get into how I make my envelopes. So this is a good example of how they fit in there. They fit right on that page, just exactly the way I want them to. I have, like I said before, I have a lot of this size that I want to use up, so I want to make sure that I have lots of options. Like this one. See, it takes up the whole page. This one, this one is the top part is the opening, and then that one right there, it opens that way. Sometimes I'll put them into where they flip out. So having a nice selection of this size envelope really works for me. So this is the size, this is my template, right? I just cut it from a pad of paper that I got at a thrift store. So how I do this is I make sure if I've got a window that I'm saving the window, because I've made that mistake before. First thing I do is fold this part right here over to get the width correct. Now you can do this with any size. It's up to you what size you want in your journals, right? Then I do this. Now this particular type with these long ends like this are a little bit on the daunting side. So what I'll do is I'll take this, I'll line it up with the fold lines, make sure that they're right with it, they're equal, they're perfect. Then I'll take a pencil or a pen. This might be a little bit difficult to see when I go to cut it. I go all the way around because this is what's going to shorten it. One of the other ways I could have done it so I could see it better would have been to do it in that direction, but I'm going to give it my best shot. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take a colored pen and I'm going to go over my my pen marks so that you can see exactly what I'm talking about here. Hopefully you can see this. It's purple. I'm running out of ink. Hold on. I think the pencil's gunking it up. Let's see. Let's see if this one will work. All right, let's take a look at this. There, pretty close to the original. And, oh, hold on. This is a mistake I've done before. Let me make sure, yeah. So see this right here? This needs to be cut. So hold on, you can go along with the fold lines on this part. Like I said, this is kind of an unusual envelope size, envelope shape. Now I find that if I have to cut that I should try to trim that, curve that a little bit, clean that up. There, let's see if that'll work. Okay. But that second fold is really important. I've made that mistake in the past, and yeah, it really messed me up. So you can see that peeking through. So I'm going to go ahead and trim that. Yeah, there we go. So now we have the right size envelope. Ooh, pretty. Let's see what it looks like folded. Okay, make sure you have it at the corners. Okay, so let's do a quick recap of what we talked about today. So the first thing we talked about was finishing up a few things in my journal and my new cover with my beautiful dangly embellishment, which I'm going to put a link to this video with 7 Plaza, Margaret at 7 Plaza, down in the description box. And my gosh, so much fun, so much fun. And I did a page spread, used up some ephemera that's from another journal from years ago, used up one of my clusters, loving that, loving the colors. I made some envelopes out of junk mail. You know, just these kind. Look at the window on that one. Goodness sakes. But anyways, junk mail envelopes, a certain size that will fit in a regular size TN. And just to let you know, this card is 8 inches by 3.5 inches. So if you decide that you want to make it this size, this is the size template that I use to fold my envelopes up on. So yeah. And these are still open. Oh, that turned out cute. I don't mind that you can see a little bit of that. I think that that looks really nice. So yeah, I hope you like this video. I hope you'll try this this project. Super easy, right? You know, I mean, it really doesn't get any simpler than that. Then you add your fun things to it. I covered my windows, so it's gonna, there's no, you know, it'll just slide in there, and there's no fuss, no muss on that. And yeah, I hope you'll dig into your junk mail. I hope that you'll make some of these envelopes for your junk journals. And until next time, have a great day. Bye-bye.